if you do not know how to wholesale, how to flip, and you just say, okay, no, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to figure out the long way, I'm just saying that your risk is really, really high. You haven't figured out how to do it on a consistent basis.
Mic check.
I'm good.
Mic check. Mic check.
You can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision, it just remains a dream.
When everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility.
We uncover what high-level entrepreneurs, business owners do to rise up from hustling daily.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Join me as I share with you actionable tips to help you grow your business, learn skills, and help you level up in your self-development journey.
Your number one spot for business and personal growth is the Online Hustlers Podcast with your host, Esteban Andrade.
Every day I'm hustling.
All right, guys. Today in this podcast episode of the REI Marketing and Conversion series, we have a really special guest. His name is Viktor. I've been following this guy on Facebook. I've been actually working with him for a long period of time already. And I know that all the things that he brings is pure value, pure gold. And if you follow him on Facebook, he sometimes speaks out his mind. And I know he wants to do it for the better for everyone. But whenever he has certain posts, some of these posts might be a little bit opposite of what people's views are. But some of them are just so true, hard facts about how to successfully run your business. And so we're going to invite Viktor here to the stream. Viktor Rybachuk, what's going on?
What's up, Esteban?
We have you in the Online Hustlers podcast. And I know you are like a pure breed online hustler. I know that you started your business like some time ago. Was it like six years ago or something like that? How long did you start?
2014. Yeah,
2014. And you started, I believe you started with like some type of online marketing, but I don't want to cover that. I want you to like tell us about your story and everything. I want to make sure that people here know who you are first, because you built a multi-million-dollar company for wholesalers in the wholesaling industry, real estate investing, that service sellers that are going through some sort of struggle. And you do it in a very proper way. You do it in a way that it actually brings value to them, right? So here, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself in front of everyone right now and tell us exactly where you come from, like when you started this business. And I know that you have your partner, Alex Romanov, but I'd love to for everyone to understand you and where your background is.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, my story starts out in the very humble beginnings of Section 8. So I actually came from a country called Ukraine, which nobody's ever heard of, right? Nobody knows where that country is. Yeah, so I came here actually,
especially now, right?
In 91 as a refugee because of the religious persecution that my family faced from the old regime, right? The Communist Party, the KGB. So I came from there at 6 years old in 91, and yeah, just really poor, straight up, man, I'm poor. I was taken in by a church to America, and they helped kind of, get us settled. But as far as, making it, it was up to us. It was definitely up to us. So my dad did the best he could, but, we had to go on public assistance. We got Section 8 housing. We got food stamps. I wonder how many people actually know what food stamps looks like. Because right now, it's actually like a debit card. You actually get like a swipe it. But I actually know what food stamps look like. It's a little pamphlet, if y'all don't know.
Yeah.
You flip through it. It's almost like a reward book. You tear it off and you pay for food. And you could only buy certain things at the grocery store. I know what that's like. I've been there. So I grew up in that, and fast forward, and my dad, got into construction himself, did tile, built some houses, and he had the vision for us to go to college, and we did. So I went to college. I got my degree in nursing, paid for it all by myself. My parents did not pay for my degree. I paid it all out of pocket. Grants, whatever. And so I got a degree in nursing, super, related to real estate, right? So I did that, got my bachelor's degree, did nursing for 7 years. And I was like, man, there's got to be something else out there. So I tried to become a doctor, and I did. I almost became a doctor. I took the pre-meds to get to that career. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I pursuing this? Like, I'm working my part-time, or I'm working my job at the hospital. I'm going to school. I'm never home. This is what my life is going to be forever. And it just something clicked inside me, like, what the heck? You have doctors inside the hospital that work on a good week. We're talking good week. You work 60 hours. That's a good week. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. So I told my teachers, like, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this. This is not right for me. And they're like, are you kidding me? You got good grades. Why would you stop going to school? Like, if you were failing, if you were not doing well, then I totally get it. But you're doing very well. At the time, I had an A- average GPA. But I was like, this is not right for me. This is not where I need to be. So I went back to the hospital. I was like, okay, what's the next thing? So I went to the CIC, which is a cardio intensive care unit, working with kids' hearts who are like teeny little hearts, and you can actually see them beating inside their chest. I won't get into that, but yeah, I saw that. And that wasn't my jam either. So I did a couple of things, looked at a nurse anesthetist. Still, it wasn't jiving. So then I finally was like, okay, how, I literally Googled this. I was like, how to make money. So one thing led to another, and real estate kept popping up. I'm like, man, this is really interesting. Like, real estate keeps coming up. Why? And I didn't want to get into it because I'm from, the Russian-Ukrainian culture, and they usually they're flipping cars or they're in construction. That's what they're known to do. And I'm like, I don't want to be the stereotypical person. I got a degree. Why would I get into, housing? Well, it turned out to be a really good idea. So I started actually just, doing the thing that I'm doing. Learning wholesaling, going to a bunch of RIAs, learning what wholesaling is all about. And I'm like, okay, so the advice I'm getting is that, wholesale 3 to 4 houses and get into flipping. That's what you need to do. And that was kind of the goal, is like, wholesaling is a stepping stone to real estate. It's not. It is challenging. But yeah, I got into that. And so my business partner, who currently is with me, is Alex Romanoff. And he was like, at the same time starting out, he and I were going to masterminds together, not masterminds, but, wholesaling groups and just RIAs. And we're like, hey, what are you up to? And, I'm doing this. He's like, oh, me too. And so we just noticed that we were doing the same marketing in the same areas and targeting the same population. We're like, okay, let's see if we could do something with this. And we're like, you know what? Let's just tag up month to month and see where this goes. So we did. We would like have a month go by and be like, what did you do? What did I do? What are your results? What are my results? And we just kind of went back and forth. And after a while, he did a deal, I did a deal, and we just partner up saying like, look, let's just unite on this effort. It's the same effort, and just go in together. It's kind of funny. People were like, this is an omen. This is not working for you. Because like the first 3 deals we did, we lost money. I laugh because it was not funny at the time. But now I'm like, oh my God, like we still did this thing, even though we lost like $5,000, $15,000, like $11,000.
Why'd you lose money? What happened with that?
Oh man, we were trying to wholesale. It was so bad. Okay. Yeah, the first deal we wholesale, and the septic system went bad, terrible. We didn't do a septic inspection on our first deal because we were like, whatever, it's probably fine. Check the septic. The second deal, we just bought it at a bad price. We just didn't know better. We bought it in a pretty bad neighborhood. And when we were trying to wholesale it, it was just not worth what we were thinking it was worth. So just not knowing the values of houses in that area. And the third one, it was like just a bad deal. I forget what that one was. But yeah, I just kept going at it, spent like $20,000 on mail marketing the first time and got so results. I mean, we got results, but it wasn't like fabulous. But now, fast forward me working, nursing, I'm working not part-time, sorry, I'm working full-time, working 12 hours a day, sleeping for 4 hours, and then waking up to do business and talk to sellers, meeting with sellers, just the hustle, man, for sure. And when, the thing I would say, what really was the catalyst in our business is that the first 3 years, we took zero money from our business, absolutely nothing. we poured every dollar that we made back into the business.
You said 3 years?
For 3 years. Yep. So
Okay.
our
So you have 3.
W-2s paid for our living expenses, and then anything we made in the business, we give it back to the business, feed the beast.
So before this gets really, really interesting, and of course we go through some of the golden nuggets that you have been able to provide to people, even on Facebook posts. Well, I really want to everyone that is listening to share this with their friends, to their circle, because this way we can get more traction on this podcast, for Viktor to share here not only his story, but the things that will help you scale the business. He currently runs a wholesale focused operations. He recently got into some other strategies, but he's been super hyper, like tunnel focus on wholesale for a long period of time. And I think I want to ask him the question about that focus on wholesale. But it's someone that I really admire. So just share this away and let's continue, Viktor.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good point. You pause. I mean, like, people say, well, what's the thing that I need to do? Honestly, if you have a W-2 job, keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that might be contrary to what people are hearing nowadays. But here's the thing. If you do not know the thing that you are doing and you quit before you're ready, you are taking a massive risk. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do, but I'm just saying as a risk profile, if you do not know how to wholesale, how to flip, and you just say, okay, no, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to figure out the long way. I'm just saying that your risk is really, really high. You haven't figured out how to do it on a consistent basis. So when I got into it, I made sure that I got a sense of what I'm doing before I quit my job. So yes, pour everything I made back into the business, into marketing, into hiring people, into better systems. You need to do that. You have to take
for 3 years straight.
For 3 years, yeah, for 3 years.
I know that you're a huge advocate on continuous education. Like, even though that you know your stuff, you continuously get into the proper education, and I see you going through proper mentorships, and you continue to do that. Like, during your first 3 years, like how would you allocate your investments back into your business, and how would that be compared to like the education that you would get?
Well, I think that there's two questions. I think the first question is like, where would you allocate the money in your business? And two, coaching, like where do you stand on that? So for me, I think in the very beginning, if I were to do it all over again, this is how I would do it. I would quit my job. Believe it or not, I would quit my job, even though I told you not to quit, but because I know what I know now, I would quit my job because I already have that knowledge. I would hire a coach right away, and I would get into cold calling. That's what I would do. I would hire 3 cold callers, because 3 gives you the best chances of having the right one, right? So I would actually hire somebody to do the calling for me. I would not do the calling myself, because anytime that I'm cold calling myself, I'm paying myself what, $4 or $5 an hour, right? That's how much a cold caller costs. And so you have 3 cold callers, because if you have 1, that's not really an option. 2, it's a dilemma. 3 is when you have choices. So now I have 3 cold callers to choose from on performance, and I would coach them every single day. I'd review their calls every single day, until to the point they got so good at the rebuttals, at the script of how to call, that we would just review calls once a week, right? And I would only go on the appointments that they set. So I wouldn't even qualify the leads at all. I would only get the ones that already qualified. So what that means is I'm actually utilizing my time to the highest value possible. So that's how I would do it, and slowly transition out of that. So I think that is probably the best way to do it, because once again, it's a leverage on time. And now coaching is another thing. Look, wherever you stand with coaching, you stand with coaching. People say, well, I don't want to pay a guru. I could figure out on my own. Let me actually ask you this, Esteban, do you know how to lose weight?
More or less. Not really.
Probably. I mean, I think most people know how to lose weight, right?
Yeah.
It's eat right and exercise, right?
Yes.
How many people do it?
Yeah.
Right? Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. So just because you know it doesn't mean you're good at the thing that you know. So I would actually hire a coach to help me along that process, to help me execute. And I wouldn't just hire anybody. I would hire someone who's vetted, someone who's not did wholesaling, but actively wholesaling themselves.
Okay.
To me, I think that's the best form of coaching, is the person who's currently doing the thing that you're trying to learn. And they're a level much higher than you are, right? You're aspiring to their level, because you could only get coached to the position that person has been, right? So if you're at $1 million a year, someone can't coach you to 10 million because they themselves haven't been down that road. I mean, how do you go down that road? So for me is cut through the hard struggles of learning yourself, right? Because I'm gonna give you a bit of a story behind why coaching is actually the cheapest form of getting successful. That's right, cheapest. And here's what I mean. So let's just say a thing is going to probably take you about 9 months to learn. Okay, so you're going to YouTube it, Google it, talk to your network, do it yourself. You're going to figure it out. It's going to take you 9 months to do it. Okay, but let's say during that time you're learning it. You could be making money. You could not be making money. Let's just say that you made some money, right? You may have made a bunch of mistakes, but you made some money. Okay, so that's scenario number one. Do it yourself, DIY. Second scenario, you hire someone who's very good at the thing that you're doing, but they're expensive, right? Quote unquote expensive. I say expensive with quotes is because is it really expensive? But let's just say it's expensive. It's going to cost you $5,000, $10,000. Let's just be more conservative and say it's going to be $10,000. But you learn the thing that you want to do in probably a month, a couple of weeks. It's not going to take you 9 months to do that. So you pay $10,000 to learn a skill set that would have taken you 9 months. You now have a month, right? Okay, so now you've learned the thing to do. Now you have a path to go on. Now you can then start to execute that plan. So you have now not 9 months, you have now 8 months to execute on that plan. So during that 8 months, you're probably going to make money, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're a good student, you're not going to just take that knowledge and be like, oh, I know it. No. Knowing something and doing something are two different things, right? If you're not doing the thing that you know, you don't really know it, right? Let me just repeat that again. If you're not doing the thing that you know, you don't really know it. So you have now 8 months to do the thing you just learned. You're probably making money. You paid 10 grand to it. That's the starting cost. But now I know with wholesaling, my average assignment fee is $32,000. I probably could get at least 1 or 2 deals a month between, that time period. So let's just say conservative 1 deal a month. So you have 8 months, 1 deal. Help me with the math. What's 1 times 32? Sorry. What's 8 times 32?
That's if we go here, I also use my calculator. That's 250.
Yeah, me too. What is it?
256.
Okay, $256,000. So I just paid $10,000, right? $10,000 to make $256,000. Is that expensive?
No, it's
It's
cheap.
not expensive.
Pennies in the dollars.
It's cheap. Whereas the first scenario, you're not making money during that 9 months because you're still learning the thing that you want to do, right? So it's actually more cost effective to have a coach who can take you where you want to be, right? I'm not a coach. I'm not trying to promote my business, but I don't have a business to promote, but I'm saying is like, you have to have a guide. You are the hero in the story because you eventually have to execute, but you need to have a guide. And if you don't have a guide, just expect it's going to be like this, go back and forth. Whereas if a guide is more, it's not going to be linear. It's definitely going to be a little jaggedy as well, but they're going to be like, hey, you got to stay in this path. Hey, you got to go here. You're not where you need to be, check yourself. So I know it's a very generic example, but I'm telling you the power of coaching is real. So
yeah,
2 years ago, I paid a coach 30 grand and somebody would have been like, you did what? I could have bought a car for that. You're right. You could have bought a car, But guess how much money I made because of that coaching in that first year? I want you to guess.
You more than 10x it.
Exactly, and more than
you-
10x it.
Probably made that $200,000 out of
Dude, it
only
was more than that.
more
Yeah,
than that.
I went from making 50 to 60,000 a month
Mhm.
to what was it? I think I ended at like 200,000 a month.
There you go.
So yeah. So you tell me, is like, was that 30 grand a lot of money? No, it was cheap. That was cheap money. That
Yeah.
was the best money I've ever spent.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
incredible. Now, during the first 3 years, did you do this? Any of this that what you just mentioned to me, how you would accelerate your growth? How was your first 3 years?
Terrible. I did not follow my own advice because I didn't know. I was cheap, man. I started out cheap. I wish I would have just blindly followed somebody and been like, you know what? I trust you. I just teach me what you got, and just go with it. I just had a skeptical mindset, and it was just a bad way to be, really bad way. So in the first year, I mean, look, if I had a coach in my first year, dude, I would at least be making 10 million a year now, at least.
There you go. Now, what's your next move in order to get you to 10 million? You're gonna get close to those people that are doing 10 million.
Well, I'm actually in a circle of people who are, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm into masterminds that people are making, like in wholesaling alone in one market, they're doing 6 to 7 million a year, right? And I'm like, I'm half of that. I'm like, oh, where's my humble pie? I got to eat that humble pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And right now you're solely focusing on wholesaling. Like, I know when we met, I told you, like, man, look, I think that this thing that people are doing, creative financing and things like that, seems to be working for those sellers that don't really fit the criteria. But you were like, hey man, look, I am tunnel envisioning to making sure that I can automate and make this wholesaling line vertical to work, right? And you went straight for it. Like, you went and you wanted to make sure that it works for that. And after that, of course, I haven't gotten any updates. So I love to know, like,
Sure.
like, I love to know, like, first, why did you have that mentality of like, okay, I'm going to be doing wholesaling. I know that there's other strategies, but I'm not going to get carried away from those strategies. Let's focus on this. So what was your thought process, and like, where has that gotten to you?
Oh man, I laugh because I learned it the hard way. So, here I am wholesaling, doing my thing. And I'm like, okay, let's get into flipping. I get into flipping. I do a couple of flips, and one flip changed me big time. I lost $110,000 on one flip.
Oh man,
it hurt. It hurt. It was during like 2019 where the market just dipped for 3 to 4 months. It just dipped. Terrible time to have a house that you need to sell. Terrible time. I got caught in that dip, lost money. And I was like, man, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Why am I flipping houses? And I just had a, soul searching of like, okay, wholesaling is not real estate. It just so happens we do real estate, and people give me crap about that all the time. But the high level people, the people that are doing over 3 million a year in wholesaling, they're like, it's not real estate. This is a marketing and sales business. Mm-hmm. So that's the mindset you have to have is it's not real estate. People say, I'm an investor. No, you're not. You're not taking down any properties. You're not actually putting money down. So don't say you're a real estate investor. You might as well just be wholesaling cars or wholesaling, bikes or whatever it is, or widgets. It's
jewelry, yeah, or anything, yeah.
Yeah, gold. You might as well be, doing gold, because that's gold industry is very similar to wholesaling, right? You buy low, sell high. So you're not really a real estate investor. It's just a nice thing to say for what people ask what you do, but you're really just in marketing and sales. So marketing and sales and project management, which is flipping, they're two different skill sets, very, very different skill sets. One, you have to be really good at people, at being in front of the right people and marketing yourself and closing, right? The other one, you have to be really good at project management. You have to have a schedule down. You have to manage people. So they might as well be two different businesses, honestly.
Yes.
So that's where I got clarity. I was like, okay, I really got to get good at wholesaling because I'm not. That's the honest truth. I was like, I'm not really good at wholesaling. I'm not really good at flipping. So I need to stick to one. And wholesaling seemed to be a lot less riskier because I didn't have to take the contract down. So now that I have that clarity, I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out wholesaling before I get into anything else. And when I had that clarity, it was like putting gas to the foot to the pedal. I was like, just, full on out, going out. And, it was traction was amazing. Like, because you're not going to properties, you're not trying to meet contractors, you're not trying to do this, you're not trying to do that. You're making money. And the best way to describe it is this. Is it better to make $30,000 a deal, or is it better to make $60,000 a year? Which one would you say?
Well, depends how much work I'm going to be putting into each and time into each one of them. Right?
Exactly. Time. How much time does it take to make that money?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a principle in our industry of getting the most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
But what they don't consider is time factor, right? Because the most bang for your buck is, do that deal is going to make you 60, right? You're going to take it down, you're going to flip it, going to go probably 3-4 months and make that money. That's the most bang for your buck in the sense of one deal. But what we also take in consideration is that, well, if I make $30,000, how long does it take me to make that money?
Yeah, it
takes me 2 months. That's my average assignment fee. Average time we get a deal on a contract and close is 2 months. So let's just say it does take 4 months to make $60,000 on a flip. I make twice that by wholesaling. So that's the game you also have to play. But I don't want to downplay also the flipping game too, because once you got that wholesaling down, bro, I think you should be flipping. I think you should be doing another strategy to make your marketing dollar go further, because not every deal you come across is going to be a wholesale, right?
To kind of like liquidate your ad spend, liquidate your lead generation spend, kind of like your marketing spend. So you're able to liquidate it by having these other services that you have or products that you can offer, right? One thing I wanted to ask you is like, you wanted to really like hone in into wholesaling and figure it out. But what was that figure out point to you? Like what was it? Like, oh, I want to make sure I do $1 million a year in wholesaling, $3 million a year in wholesaling, and I have a team of full blast, people all over the world, or like, what was that? So that you could say like, okay, I have that figured out.
Well, being very honest with you, I haven't figured it out. But to me, what that means is that I'm not going on the appointments. I'm not taking the calls. I'm not dispoing the deal. I don't even know anything about the property. That to me is figuring it out, and you're making money.
Yes.
So that's figuring out. If you're not sitting in those seats, if you're not the operator in your business, congratulations, you figured it out, right? So that's what I mean by that. So the book E-Myth is a really, really good read where the guy talks about the technician, the technician, manager, and entrepreneur. You can't be, there you go, that's the one. You can't be the entrepreneur until you first become the technician, manager, and then the entrepreneur. You can't skip unless you're a VC. You can fund, you can hire everybody out. But in our business, we have to go in that progression. So for me, you have to not be working in your business, but on your business. And I'm slowly getting there, because right now we have like 50 deals or 45 deals or something like that. I don't know one single property. I haven't spoken to one single seller. And that's crazy, right? That's absolutely crazy. But Alex and I are partners. He's the COO. I'm the CEO. And I sit in different seats. But I'd say figuring it out is you have to have a system, emphasis on a system that produces predictable results, right? So predictable results to me is you got to do this for at least 6 months with consistent results in those 6 months. If you don't have 6 months and those results are consistent and you're still the operator, you haven't figured it out yet.
That's right. That's really important. I think a lot of people absolutely take a long time in making the decision that I have to continuously close the deals, being the acquisition person, because I know I can close deals, I can follow up the best way, I can negotiate the best way, get the lowest amount of price. But then they don't understand that the next level of their business is not that operational role where you're there. Like your next level is, where do I make better high level decisions in a probably in a C executive level, right? And then the next level is like, now you're just more of an advisor, but that's other levels of the game, of course, right? But a lot of people just continuously just try to hustle and hustle and hustle, but they don't really see that it's much better, like you were talking about time, to protect your time and make sure that you can compress that time, or like you're able to leverage the money that you're making to get back that time. And that will that will open up your eyes to the possibilities of how you can take it to other levels. And I'm talking many like super generalistic here, but Victor is a really good example of it. I think that when I met him, were you still doing seller calls? I think you were still closing deals.
Oh yeah, right? yeah. During the time that we met, absolutely, I was still doing seller appointments.
Yeah, you were still doing seller appointments, and I think a lot of people are still in that position, right? Let's talk the few 2 years when you met this coach that took you from fixed 50, 60K to 200K plus, right? Per month.
Sure.
What were the most critical things, knowing you where you wanted to be, the most critical things that you took, the steps that you took in order to really get to that level? Yeah,
man, that's such a good question. I'm a note taker, so I apologize if you see me write stuff down. That's just who I am. So back then, where I was like, I was in a rut, period. We were in a rut. We were like doing this, the same thing, but expecting more. That doesn't make any sense. And the thing that we had to do is get out of our own way. And I couldn't do that without the right coaching. And that's the beauty thing about a coach is like, since they've already done the thing that you're trying to do, they're like, dude, don't do the thing that you think is right. It's wrong. I'm telling you that it's wrong. So just follow my advice. And that's what we did. We just followed the advice. Where we were the bottlenecks at our business. Alex and I were going on the appointments. We were meeting with sellers. We're not doing a very good job at it, being honest with you. We were not really good closers. And that's just being honest, right, with yourself. Your zone of genius, you have to know where it is. If you're not in your zone of genius, you're wasting your time. So once we got the coaching, I'm saying, like, guys, I know you think you're really good at sales, but you need to hire it out. So we're like, no one cares about our business more than me. I can't give away that much power to someone who is not an owner, because they're not going to care as much as I do. That's a limiting belief. We had to overcome that limiting belief. And yeah, it cost me some coaching to get there, but I got there. So once we realized that, we were like, okay, let's find someone to close for us. And once we found a closer, this closer was incredible. She's been in sales for many years. This is not her first rodeo, and she can close like nobody's business. So just to give you perspective, I was closing at a rate of like, I think 1 to 14, right? So 14 appointments will get one deal. She was closing at 1 to 7. So half of what I was doing, right? So I was like, dang, what are you doing, Wendy? This is incredible. So that really was like, okay, what's the goal behind this, right? Like you said, what's the goal? The goal isn't to necessarily make money. The goal is to make money so you can hire people, right? It's stacking cash. That's the whole point of this. The E-Myth. Go from technician to manager. And the managers is stacking cash so they could hire more technicians that they can manage. Okay. So we took the risk. We had some money in the bank. We said, look, we're gonna bet on this person, and we did. We bet on this person. In the first year, I think she made us, like $600,000 or $700,000 in that year, and the next year after, she made us $2 million.
Wow, one closer. You're telling me one closer.
One closer, $2 million.
All right. So guys, before we go into like more detail about other things that they hired that they thought they were better at, let's just go clarify something. Our goal as business owners, when we're developing a team, our goal is to hire people that are smarter than us and probably harder work. Like I don't want to say like work harder than us, but like they have a specific skill set in this specific department or in this specific line of your business that will be more efficient and more effective than you, because they're only going to be focused on this, but also they're really smart about this specific thing. In this situation, we're talking about clothing. Like, I'm 100% sure, just like as a business owner I am, Victor, at the moment that he was closing the deal, maybe he was like trying to just maintain that concentration of, okay, I'm closing this deal, I'm negotiating with this seller. But the moment that he exited that seller appointment, he's also thinking many other different things. Like he's thinking about lead generation. Oh, he's thinking about my dispo. Like, look at this, like this headspace that he needed to basically get outside of his way in order to make that type of growth. I'm just having a key takeaway here. What else do you find out that you needed to hire to find someone that was like going to give you more revenue or expand your business in any other way?
Well, I mean, it wasn't all peaches and roses. I mean, we did hire somebody that didn't work out. That sucked.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a part of the beast, right? That's what makes us entrepreneurs. We take that risk. There's no guarantee.
Disclosures right now is still with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Did you hire her? Is she local to the U.S., Canada, or somewhere else? Or
Yep. Yeah, she's local. Yeah.
Okay.
She did, what is it, like stadium advertising? So they would advertise in stadiums, the market agency would advertise in like those grocery carts, right? So she would sell ads pretty much to businesses and whatnot. And she got an opportunity to level up her income.
Love it.
Boy, did she ever. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are you able to disclose any type of the structure that you would try to have for a good closer so that they are highly motivated and this is a good pay?
Well, man, so this is a kind of a loaded question because it all depends on how you want to run your operation. So I can give you a basic framework of how you could think about doing it. So I'm now in the mindset of I want W-2 employees. I don't want 1099 contractors. I want to be invested in the people that work with me. I want to grow them. I want to grow their future. I want to grow along with them. So I'm now more in the mindset of like, okay, let's structure our commissions that supports that, right? So I'll get that in a second. And the other one is, I don't want a W-2. There's a lot of headache. I just want to make money. You could do that way too. So here's the difference. A 1099 person, you can let them go at any time. A W-2, right? You're really investing in them. You're paying the extra taxes on them. Just a more closer connection with them. So as far as commission goes, if you want to do that, you could do either way. You could do a base plus commissions, or you could just do straight commissions. The really, really good closers, do not want a base, believe it or not. The good closers want 100% commission because they get to make more money. But once again, it also, this is the caveat that I was talking about, but it also depends on your business and it depends on you. So if you have a good, robust systems and processes, you then actually want to have a base plus commission. But if you don't have a robust systems and processes, you want to have like a predictive index of a maverick, someone who's like completely out there wanting to do it on their own. And so they actually want to have just straight commissions. So with straight commissions, the way we have it structured is 8%, 10%, and 120%. So if they're making, I believe, $75,000, or they generate a $75,000 or less in the month, they get 8% of that. Between 75 and 100,000, they get 10%. Anything above I'm actually messing this up. I believe between 100,000 or 100,000 and 120,000, they're getting 10%. Anything above 120, they get 12%. So that's the way we structure it.
This is like tiers, like tier level.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one way to structure it. Another way to structure it is you do a base. So a base in Seattle and a base in, I don't know, Texas or Tennessee, not the same base, because the cost of living in Seattle is much higher.
Yes.
So depending on where you are, you got to determine your base, but you can't create a base such that it makes them comfortable. You want to create a base for them to still be hungry. So to give them some kind of reassurance, like, look, if I didn't close anything, I'd still get something, but it's not enough that they could just live off of it, right? Because you want them to live off of commissions. So as far as what the commissions look like, you could structure it like you could say $3,000 a month or $4,000 a month. Let's say 4,000 with 3% commission. You could do it that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this obviously has been working. Like, I'm pretty sure this person is like killing it right now. Is she like the most senior closer in your team, or like you have more other closers?
Yeah. So we had 3 closers. One of them just had personal issues, and we dragged it on for far too long to let him go. Yeah. But we let him go. Just a lot of things in his personal life that he had to take care of that were just interfering with his work. And now we have 2 closers, and they're pretty good. I mean, they're doing deals, but I think we just can do a much better job with our sales process, systems and processes.
I do want to cover here, like, we're covering a little bit of the acquisitions, but let's cover like acquisitions and let's go on and more of the logistics transaction dispo after your acquisitions. For me was highly impressive when I met you at the moment, because you had the setters, right? Like basically the lead managers, or I don't know how you call it in your organization, but the appointment setters, like you had them fight for the food. Basically, like every time that a setter a lead come in, like they will claim it, like they'll go for it, right? And I believe you had over, was it 5 or 4 of these that were managed around the globe, like different setters from different countries and everything. But it ensured that the follow-up speak to lead was like there. It was like super fast, and ensure that people were followed up and people were basically nurtured until they pick up the phone and until they give the information about the time frame, the motivation, everything for the closers to do their job, right? So do you have that already figured out? Is that how you currently have it, or has anything changed? And like, if it didn't, like, I'd love to learn more.
Well, so when you and I first connected, yes, we did have that free for all, then I think we had at the time 2 closers or something like that, 2 or 3, not closers, appointment setters. We call them HBAs, home buyer associates.
There you go.
We had 3 of them, and it was a free for all. Whoever gets the lead first gets the lead, right? And then we switched it up to a round robin, and this is where it didn't work because Esteban, you know the answer. What is the best type of lead, inbound or outbound?
Inbound,
right. And some of the time when you do round robin, the problem is people get leads assigned to them. So if they're on a break, if they're not available, or if they're on a call, they're not answering that lead, versus someone who is available, who isn't on a call or whatever, they're not going to get that lead just because it's being round robin assigned to someone else. In the spirit of fairness, dude, there's nothing fair about sales. There's nothing fair about sales. So let's get rid of that notion. Sales is about performance, period. If you can perform, great job. You're going to be amazing at sales. If you can't perform, it's not fair. Tough luck. I'm glad you tried. And that's the way it is. So we now are back to not doing round robin. It's whoever gets the lead first. Because when you have, sometimes there's weeks you pay $500 a lead, right, for PPC leads. Sometimes it happens. I don't want someone to be like, oh, I didn't get it because I was grabbing a burrito. Right? No, you want that lead to be answered. You're paying $500 for that lead, right? Sometimes those leads are $150 a pop, $80 a pop. So you don't want that to be given to just to be fair. No, if you're available, if you're hungry, if you're ready to take it, you got the lead. So that's how we do it now. And as far as response times, that's something we're very, very much aware of, is the speed to lead. How quickly can we get to the lead that comes in? So last time we checked, we're under 5 minutes. So that's phenomenal. We're going to keep working at it. Try to decrease that time. I know it sounds crazy, but we do want to decrease it. We want to get to the point where they are filling out that form and we're on the phone with them, right? They're on step 2 of the form and we're on the phone with them. That's how quickly we want that to be. And I mean, of course, I say that because we've done that before. And so we just want that to be a regular thing, not like it just happens, here and there. So speed to lead is really, really important with all your inbound channels. So your Google, your Facebook, if you're purchasing leads, that channel, SEO, yeah, man, those, or TV, right? We're going to get into TV as well. They got to be answered right there and then, right? Because they're looking for a problem to solve. They're not like, well, whenever you get time. I mean, like, here's an example. I had to, what was it? Gosh dang it. I think it was catering. Yeah, I think it was catering. I had to do some catering or order catering. So I just Googled catering companies where I am. And I went through the list of catering companies. I'm telling you, like, I didn't think about it until after the fact. I just went on to the next person who did not pick up the phone. If it rang and rang and rang with a voicemail, I went to the next catering person, the next one, until I got someone on the phone that could answer my question. Guess who didn't get the business? The people that didn't answer their phone, right? So when I'm a motivated person, I'm an inbound lead, I'm looking to solve a problem, you have to have a system that's ready to answer that need.
Yes, 100%. I think this is crucial, man. There is a value formula that actually Alex Hormozi talks about that takes time delay. It's right under, whenever you have the formula, which is the perception of whether they're going to get whatever it is that you actually promised them, right? Like, do they trust you and everything? The other one is like, is it actually something that you're going to solve for them? Like, is this a problem? And like, how much of a problem you're going to be solving? So, and then underneath, it's the time delay, the perception of the time delay, and effort and sacrifice that it requires for them to get what they need. So the time delay, when you decrease it, it becomes so valuable for any type of people, any type of person. So just like you were talking about with this catering, the time delay of getting a response time, if it was like almost 0, it'll be so valuable to you because you need it to absolutely crush that whatever you were going to do with the catering, right? You needed to solve that problem, right? But like, if you're a motivated seller, you need to speak to someone that at that moment that you're thinking, I'm screwed, something's happening about my home, you need to do it as fast as possible. The closer you go to 0, it is the more value you give, because it's indirectly proportional to value. So if for someone that haven't read that book, go on and read 100 Million Offers. And the same thing for the effort and sacrifice. If it is as much, like if it requires the least amount of effort, then it will be as as valuable as if you had like a very low time delay. But when you combine both, then that's when it becomes unlimitedly valuable. So those are things that I actually learned, and it makes absolute sense. Well, that's why Speedily is absolutely super crucial, because you're servicing people and you have to be doing it as fast as possible, right? So, man, it's been so great. I really want to make sure, first, do you have more time so we go over some things here?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay,
we
let's go.
covered it.
Go more time, because I really want to cover something. I want to really find out what are the things that you struggled the most, that really didn't get you from point A to point Z where you are, or like to these things that when you took this coaching and they told you to hire disclosures, start getting yourself apart from the picture. But where were these other things that you were really struggling with and you potentially are trying to solve right now?
Well, man, I think really it's a facet of things. So I guess maybe the first thing is, what got you from 0 to 1 isn't the same thing as going to get you from 1 to 2. So just because it worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work again. That's the crazy thing. And so you constantly have to level yourself up. That's why one of my values is growth. I have to have growth. If I don't have growth, I'm dying. Nature says this. There's no in between. There's no plant that says it's going to chill. The plant is either growing or it's dying, right? Same thing with human beings. If we're not getting better, we're dying. So for me, I'm noticing that my journey now is an upside down pyramid. So in the beginning, right? I started like this, right? So where I'm the bottom of the tip, and everything comes through me, right? So if something has to be done, it has to come through me or Alex, and then it gets done. I'm the closer, I'm the marketer, I'm the dispo, I'm everything in the business. And that's how you have to start. That's not a wrong thing. That's not a bad thing. That's just where you have to start. But as you grow, as you scale, you have to take that pyramid and flip it upside down. So where you are no longer the bottleneck, right? You're not at the bottom, you're at the top now. And then the question becomes, well, what's the bottom? The bottom is now your people, your processes, and your culture. They now form the base of the pyramid to be successful, right? So that's the struggle that I'm facing right now is being the leader my team needs me to be. Leading people in the right direction, having the skills to be that CEO that my team needs me to be. And that's hard. That's really, really hard, because that requires a completely different skill from just hustling. Because you could hustle, right? Believe it or not, hustling is easy. You just got to grind. You got to take those calls. You got to go on those appointments. You got to negotiate. You got to grind. Believe it or not, that's actually easy. What's not easy is the things that you don't know how to do yet. That's not easy. And you have to learn that process of, hey, I need to become this person. And I'm of the mindset that my personality changes to whatever season I'm in. So if I know this for a fact, I'm not just saying this as whatever, this is for a fact. My DISC assessment, what it started out to be and what it is now, are vastly different. I started out being this high DI person, right? A driver and extroverted person. The I, what is that? Forget the I means, but just someone who's high energy, outgoing, this and that. And I've tracked myself over time of where I was in a certain stage, and my DISC assessment changed. My personality changed. I adapted to whatever the demand was at the time. Now I'm a DC, right? Where I'm very driven and I'm more focused on compliance, because our business needs me to be a leader, to drive, and we need to create order in the chaos that we've created. So for me, that's the part that I struggle with, is like, making that transition, making that personality shift, and being the person my team needs me to be.
Yeah, you're evolving with your team. I mean, for your team, and of course with your team, and you're trying to. I think it's a lot of people. A lot of people really struggle on that, the leadership part, where you actually are the people that they look up to, like your employees, your team members look up to you. Like, what would Victor do? What would Victor say? Or like, am I doing the things right the way that Victor would do? Like, there's a lot of that happening at stages where you are in real estate, or any business, honestly, any business. What would you feel is the has been the hardest kind of decision that you've had to do in your business towards your employees, like whether that's firing, whether that's hiring, whether that's like changing the order of something? Like, what has been the hardest things, if any? I'm pretty sure there is.
Well, I might take this question a little bit in a different way, but the hardest things so far has been like, you think you know something, but your team gives you the feedback. They're like, that's not what it is. And you're like, I know what it is, but they're like, no, it's not. That's hard. Yeah. Because you're like so certain about it. You're like, man, this is definitely it. And they're like, nope, it's not working out. And what I mean by that is, like, we recently restructured our departments. So we had what is it? Transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And we had JV. So JV just disposed other people's deals for them, place of buyers. Sorry, not buyers, investors. We don't call them buyers because we're the buyer, right? And they're investors. We bring them in, right? We got to own the contract. You're not. Then hold on. Before I move on. If they are the buyer, then what makes you on the contract?
Yeah,
exactly. You are the buyer. They are the investor. You bring them in. So that's that. So we would place deals for them. And so we had to restructure our transactions department. So our team just wasn't doing very well. Like, just things are not working. Things are not being done. Deals are not being disposed. And I made the very tough call of taking that TC department and splitting them off to dispo and TC.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely the right call to make, 100% the right call to make, but it ruffled a lot of feathers.
Did that change a lot of things? Like, did that make a lot of things difficult for the team after that?
Yeah, because it created some uncertainty, because like the commissions now are different. The leadership is now different, and the person who's been with us for like almost 2 years, she quit because of it.
Gotcha.
So that was tough, because she meant a lot to me. She was a great human being, but just ultimately, because of the change that we went through, and I knew in hearts of my heart that this is the right decision to make, and she did not agree with it. Yeah, she was just like, no, Victor, we talked about not making this decision just yet. We were going to see how things are working out. I'm like, they're not working out. These are the results. This is where we're going. This is not where we need to be. We're not dispoing deals. Deals are not closing. And she was like, no, we just give it more time. I'm like, I can't give it more time. We got to make the call. So yeah, it's, to lead by democracy is the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, like, popular vote gets the win. No. You got to make the tough calls.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. Why do you think that change of having TC and Dispo separately? Why was it better for you? Like, why is it a better method? Why is it a better way to like handle transactions?
Sure. Well, once again, just because where you started doesn't mean that's what's going to work. So I started out as the dispo manager. I did not know it, but that's what I was. So I would dispo the deals, and then I would have two ladies who worked virtually for me do the coordination. But what I found out is, like, because I have so many hats in the business, I was like, okay, ladies, let me show you how to dispo. So I showed them how to dispo, not the best way, but I did. And I ran with that model. So it's TC and dispo into one role. It started not working out. And so when we split it off, you have now a dispo manager who's so good at relationship building, absolutely phenomenal at building that connection, and is actually selling the deal. They're not just like order takers, right? Here's your order. Do you like this deal or not? Okay, no. They're selling the deal. They're selling the dream.
Actually,
and that's what dispo is.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas TC is, they're more of like the administrative side of things. They're more like follow the checklist. So you have two different personalities that are doing the same role. That doesn't make any sense. You have to split it off. So we just made this a couple weeks ago. I'm pretty confident our numbers are going to increase. We already are seeing some traction, but only in about 3-4 months will we know what the effort or what the change really had, right? You don't really know in the moment, just have to measure it later on.
Yeah. So my question then goes, as a dispo manager, do you think that someone that also does acquisition, so a closer, for example, has the same qualities and the same skill set that a dispo manager should have, because at the end of the day, they're negotiating with buyers? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're very similar. Very similar. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And of course, you saw that in this manager. That's why you're like, oh, you're only doing this. That's going to be your line. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Where are you at right now in your business? Like, if you are able to disclose it.
Yes. So every business has a blueprint. Every business has a blueprint. Just like a kid being born to, person dying, there's that, life cycle. So does the business have a life cycle? I think where we're at is in the phase of, to maybe simplify, you have the startup phase, right? Just starting out, you're everything. What do you do? Everything underneath the blue sky. Your blue sky. Then you go into the growth phase, and after growth phase, you go into stabilize phase.
Yeah,
we're in the stabilize and optimize phase. So what that means is that in order for you to scale, which is the fourth step, you have to stabilize and optimize.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. So once again, it's the startup phase, the growth phase, standardize, optimize, scale, and then legacy. So we got some work to do. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, man, I loved having you here, and I don't want to keep this too long, but I definitely want to have a second episode. All right. Where you come in and we can potentially talk about many other different things. But I think if you, as a listener here in the Online Hustlers podcast in Spotify, whether that's iHeart Music, radio, whether that's podcasts in iTunes or in Amazon, if you love this episode and you learned a lot from him, he's just a wealth of knowledge, and he loves to actually just really give that away, even for free. He doesn't have a coaching program. He doesn't have like this mentorship program, or he's not selling to you anything. Just share this with anyone. All right. That everyone and anyone that you see in your space, in Facebook or Instagram, share it all around social media, and subscribe to this channel, because we're going to get more of Viktor. All right. There's a lot of different interesting Facebook posts that he does that I love to really dissect more. And follow Viktor on social media. That's for sure. I think it's at Viktor GLG, or what is your social media?
Yeah. So that's my Insta handle. I gotta do much better with my Instagram game. Oh gosh, dang it! Like, I just recently met with Ryan Panetta. Dude, that guy is crushing it with his social media. I'm like, okay, I gotta level up myself. You can also find me on Facebook. Just Viktor Rybachuk.
Viktor GLG. All right, there you go. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And what about in Facebook? It's in your name is Victor with K. It's not with a C. And
Correct.
Rybachuk. You can follow him on Facebook as well. Now, I do want to do a favor to you. Like, is there anything that you potentially could get, or by telling anyone or any listener here? I know that you just mentioned, hey, you want to get better into your social media, like you want to do something. Is there anything that you look forward to, like how you want to evolve as a personally?
Yeah, yeah, I have a list, bro. Yeah, so it's definitely like running a highly performing sales department. That one for sure. We're right now rebranding our company because it's called I Will Buy House. Look, it sounds weird, but I'm telling you, it's not in the name. It's what you provide. So, but anyways, we're rebranding. So I need help with the branding part of it. I'm also going to get on TV, doing some TV ads. I already got the guy for it to help me with. We're switching to Salesforce with Stephanie Betters. Yeah, figuring out personas for our customers, what that would look like. We get a lot, man.
That's exciting, man. A lot of different additions and potential changes. That CRM change is a huge one.
Yes.
That's definitely huge. I'm pretty sure going from old Podio to Salesforce is gonna take time and effort and sacrifice,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be worth it, especially when you can track things very well.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Any exciting things that you like to tell people? Maybe if you need some help and people are listening to this, is there anything at all?
I mean, we are going to be looking for people to work locally with us in Washington State. So if you know someone who is a closer, going on appointments, yeah, we'd love to interview you for sure.
Awesome. So as you heard today about the whole sales organization that he is trying to build here. And I love that. So if you're a closer and you listen to this and you know that, holy, I can be better off working with such a great company of I Will Buy a House in Washington, then go and apply. Go reach out to Victor in social media, Instagram or Facebook. And also, just help him like build what he wants, and he's gonna make sure that you get to the next level. All right.
Right on.
Awesome, Victor. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, everyone, and Victor for you being here. The next episode we'll talk about it. I've honestly the only people that I get 2 episodes is because I know we can continue on hours and hours of like pure gold nuggets. One of them is actually Scott Morris. He's gonna have a second one, but man, it's really great things that you're able to share here. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one. All right, bye-bye.
See ya.
Every day I'm hustling.